You didn't become the capable one by accident. Somewhere between your mother's sigh and your father's silence, you learn to grab the wheel, calm the room, remember every birthday, preempt every crisis, pay with your time, attention, and nervous system. The family exhaled when you entered. You inhaled what no one else would feel. If you're listening with a lump in your throat, stay. This is not a scolding. It's a mirror and it's clean. Tonight we'll run a quiet Jungian test. 10 signs that reveal the overfunctioning daughter. Then we'll trade the old contract for a sane one. Sign 1. You narrate other people's duties as if they were your own. You hear mom forgot her appointment, and your body writes the checklist before your mind speaks. Sign 2. You pre-apologize for needs. You soften every request with a smile, then over-deliver to compensate for having asked at all. Sign 3. You anticipate chaos and build bridges before anyone asks you to. Rides, meals, diplomacy, explanations. You call it being thoughtful. Your nervous system calls it unpaid overtime. Sign 4. You absorb blame before blame arrives. A reflex to keep peace at any price, especially with a parent who withholds warmth when crossed. Breathe. None of these make you wrong. They reveal an old contract. In Jung's language, the parent complex formed a manager in your psyche. A bright, vigilant part that kept you safe by keeping everyone else functioning. As a child, that manager was genius. As an adult, it's exhausting. The overfunctioning daughter doesn't simply help. She absorbs. She steps into the gap before anyone names it. She answers questions that were never asked out loud. She mistakes being indispensable for being loved, and she confuses being calm for being safe. The price is invisible. Adrenaline mornings, resentful midnights, and a calendar that reads like an apology letter. Notice what your body does when a parent says, "I just don't know how I'd manage without you." A quick glow, then a heavy ache. That glow is the old reward pathway, approval for abandoning yourself. The ache is yourself, the archetype of wholeness asking for a different rhythm. Individuation begins when you hear both and choose the ache, because the ache tells the truth. Here is the question no one asked you when you were little. Who would you be if you were not needed? Overfunctioning daughters rarely contemplate this, because the family story handed you a role, not a self. You were the sturdy bridge, the reliable fix, the eldest energy regulator, even if you were the youngest girl. When the house flooded with emotion, you mopped. When tempers cracked the walls, you patched. When holidays became performance art, you hit your marks. You became fluent in unspoken rules. Don't upset, don't refuse, don't rest. But a rule is not a bond. It's a leash. And a leash can be slipped. The first movement is gentle. Name the pattern without shame. I notice I volunteer before anyone asks. I notice I plan 3 steps ahead because I'm afraid of the mess. I notice I feel responsible for moods that don't belong to me. These are not indictments. They are keys. Keys open doors. Beyond those doors is a calmer life where care is not a compulsion, generosity has edges, and love is not measured in cancelled plans. Before we continue, place a hand on your chest. Feel the thud of a loyal heart. It does not need to carry a household to be good. It needs a boundary to stay true. Sign 5. You translate vagueness into logistics. A parent says, "We should get together sometime," and you open calendars, propose dates, offer transport, and follow up twice. You fear that if you don't engineer connection, love will evaporate. That fear is the thread we will gently cut strand by strand. Starting now, let's keep walking. The test isn't moral, it's anatomical. It shows you where your energy leaks. Sign 6. You feel anxious when you're not useful. Rest feels wrong unless you've earned it with 10 invisible tasks. The moment a parent sighs on the phone, your shoulders tighten as if pulled by strings. You move from chair to car to errand list because motion numbs guilt. Sign 7. You translate criticism into assignments. You Never Cool becomes a calendar series and photo updates. Your brother never helps becomes cover his side too so mom doesn't spiral. You solve by adding yourself. Sign 8. You over-explain boundaries. You compose careful paragraphs no one asked for, offering context, history, and weather reports of your availability. You believe that if your parents understand enough, they will release you. They won't. Emotional immaturity feeds on explanation. It hears essays as negotiations. Sign 9. You accept moving goalposts. Just this once becomes, since you did it last time. Your generous exception quietly becomes the new rule. Sign 10. Your body keeps score. Before family events, you can feel the migraine aura, the jaw clench, the 3 a.m. inventory of everything that could go wrong. Your body believes it is responsible for the household barometer. If 3 or more of these signs visit you weekly, you are not helpful. You are carrying the family's unprocessed adulthood, what Jung might call an inherited complex. A complex isn't shameful. It's a pattern that runs itself until consciousness interrupts it. Your consciousness is arriving now. The pattern behind the pattern is fog, fear, obligation, guilt. Fear of being labeled ungrateful if you decline. Obligation to keep the family machine humming because you always have. Guilt for having a separate life. Fog is weather that seems real until you touch it. Then you notice it passes when you stand still. How did this begin? Often with parentification, the subtle or blatant role reversal, where the child becomes the regulator. Anxious mothers outsource calm to daughters. Angry fathers outsource harmony. In divorces, addictions, and silent depressions, children become emotional spouses, translators, appointment keepers, tech support, and confidants. Families reward performance with proximity and punish individuation with chill, sarcasm, or private shaming. An over-functioning daughter learns to read the room faster than she reads her own pulse. She learns that speed protects. She learns that softness invites critique. She learns that being right about everyone else feels safer than being present with herself. There is a difference between closeness and enmeshment. Closeness honors edges. Enmeshment dissolves them. Closeness welcomes a boundary as a sign of trust. Enmeshment treats a boundary as betrayal. Ask quietly. When I say no, do my parents get curious or punitive? Do they renegotiate or do they rewrite my character? Emotional immaturity cannot metabolize difference. It converts difference into accusation. That is not a verdict on your parents' souls. It is a statement about their skills. Skills can be learned by them and by you. Take a steady breath. The test did its job. It named the leaks. Now we begin the repair not by becoming harder, but by becoming clearer. Clarity is love with a spine, and yours is growing. Under fog, you often code love as maintenance, chasing harmony with errands instead of truth with sentences. Correction, pause, feel the tug. Let the weather move through without acting. Feelings are not contracts. When comparison appears, refuse the ledger and speak reality and limits. Every time. You don't fix an over-functioning life by becoming cold. You fix it by becoming owned by your values, not by other people's moods. In Jung's terms, boundaries are the edges of the self, the shoreline where your inner continent meets the sea of other people's needs. When the shoreline erodes, waves take the land. Tonight you begin rebuilding coast by coast. Start with the standard, not the story. Stories explain. Standards decide. Fair standard is a sentence you can live by without debate. I do not do for adults what they can do for themselves. I return calls during set hours. I don't respond to guilt texts. These are not threats. They are descriptions of how you now live. Create 3 containers to hold your energy. The first is time. Choose 2 windows each week when you are available for parental logistics. Outside those windows, you're a daughter, not a manager. The second is money. Decide what you give and how often. Automate it if you can. Generosity without edges breeds resentment. Generosity with edges builds trust. The third is access. Silence and availability are powerful currencies. Spend them wisely. Let calls go to voicemail when you're not resourced. Call back when your spine is present. You are allowed to be reachable and unhurried. Now trade rescue for relationship. The rescuing reflex keeps you in charge and emotionally starved. Relationship requires 2 adults, 2 calendars, and 2 sets of consequences. To replace "I'll handle it" with "What's your plan?" If a parent asks you to fix a sibling, decline triangulation and redirect. Please talk to them directly. If the protest rises, but they won't, answer with reality. If they won't, I'm still not the bridge. This is not cruelty. It is respect for everyone's adulthood. When bridges stop volunteering, people learn to swim. You will be tempted to over-explain. Don't. Explanation is often an anxious plea for permission. Clarity doesn't require permission. Use the 1-breath boundary. 1 sentence that names your limit. 1 sentence that names what you will do. For example, I'm not available for daily updates. I'm free Sunday afternoon. Or, I'm not able to drive this week. I can help you order a rideshare. Then stop talking. The silence that follows will feel like disloyalty. It's not. It is the sound of yourself returning. Jung taught that what we resist persists, but what we make conscious transforms. So make your guilt conscious. Write the guilt sentences you fear hearing. You don't care about family. You think you're better than us, after everything we did. Then answer each one in writing with adult truth. I care enough to be honest about capacity. I'm not better. I'm clearer. What you did was real. What I can do now is different. Practicing this dialogue retrains the inner parent voice. The next time guilt appears on the caller ID of your mind, it will meet an adult at the door. Finally, attend to your body like it's a beloved animal. Overfunctioning is a nervous system habit disguised as virtue. Pick one daily action that lowers your baseline without performance. A slow walk without a phone, a bath, 10 minutes of lying on the floor, a warm, unremarkable meal eaten sitting down. When the body learns safe while still, the mind stops recruiting urgency to justify existence. You become trustworthy to yourself. And once you become trustworthy to yourself, others either rise to meet you or fall back into their own lives. Both outcomes are gifts. One more practice: name, claim, and then simply live it. Name the standard privately. Claim it with one witness who supports your shift. Proclaim it once to those affected without persuasion. After that, you stop campaigning and start practicing. Consistency, not argument, rewires the family field. Expect turbulence at first. Pilots hold course with instruments, not passenger reactions. Give it weeks. Let's bring the test into rooms where it matters. Emotional immaturity often uses 3 instruments: urgency, confusion, and evaluation. Urgency says, it must be now. Confusion says, this is too complicated. Let me back in. You will meet each instrument with a calm counter-instrument. Pacing, clarity, and self-definition. Pacing first. When a parent declares a crisis, Ask 2 questions before moving a muscle. Is anyone unsafe? And what is the requested task? If the answer to safety is no, you are free to schedule, not scramble. Say, "Sang, I can look at this tomorrow at 4 and put the phone down." If safety is yes, act, then later review the pattern. True emergencies are rare. Repeated emergencies are structures. Clarity next. Emotional immaturity bleeds power by blurring categories. Keep categories clean. Feelings are witnessed. Tasks are delegated. Decisions are owned by the person who lives with the outcome. So when a parent mixes them, crying about loneliness while asking you to fix a printer, separate gently. I'm here to listen for 10 minutes. For the printer, you'll need a tech. Would you like me to text you 2 options? You gave empathy without swallowing responsibility. That's clarity in action, self-definition finally. Evaluation sentences. A good daughter wouldn't say no. Family means showing up. Aim to replace your definition with the family's decal. Replace them with your own creed, stated simply and lived consistently. I care and I have limits. You don't debate creeds, you embody them. The more consistent your embodiment, the faster the commentary dies of disuse. Here are common moments and the response that keeps you whole. Silent treatment after a boundary. Send one message and stop. I love you. I'll be here Sunday if you wish to talk. Then let the weather pass. Interrogations disguised as concern. Are you sure? Who will help you? Answer once. I've got it handled. No ledger, no proof. Holiday pressure. We always host. Reply, I'm simplifying this year. I'll join for 2 hours. Financial strings. We paid for your car. You owe us. Answer, I'm grateful. My decisions are still mine. Health panics, validate fear, plan sanely. Let's get your appointment on the calendar. I can drive next Thursday. Triangulation. Tell your brother. Redirect. That's between you and him. Comparisons to the martyr aren't. Smile if you can and say, I'm choosing what I can sustain. Then change the subject. Expect a backlash phase. Systems resist the element that changes because the system is trying to keep its old equilibrium. In family psychology, it's called homeostasis. In your body, it feels like guilt and adrenaline. Backlash is not evidence that you're wrong. It's evidence that you moved. Track it like weather. Note when it peaks. Who amplifies it? What phrases hook you? The hooks teach you where to fortify. You will also feel grief. Overfunctioning traded freedom for closeness. Boundaries trade false closeness for real freedom. Grief is the sound of your life resizing. Let it move. Let tears come without assigning them meaning. Your younger self is noticing that love was tied to effort, and she is learning a new language, loved while resting. Sit with her in kindness. Promise her you'll never again make her buy affection with exhaustion. Keep a weekly debrief. 15 quiet minutes. 3 questions. 1. Where did I act from clarity rather than speed? 2. Where did I explain instead of decide? 3. What standard will I rehearse this week? Write 1 sentence for each and close the journal. You are training rhythm, not perfection. None of this requires you to make your parents the villains. You are not on trial and neither are they. You're updating an ecosystem so that care can circulate without devouring its source. Overfunctioning was your survival myth. Boundaries are your maturation story. You are allowed to mature if others refuse to grow at the same pace. Now you know the pattern and the way out. 10 signs named the role. Standards return you to yourself. Imagine the weeks ahead not as a performance, but as a change of weather. At first you may feel foggy and exposed. You will wonder whether you've become selfish, cold, or ungrateful. You haven't. You've become visible to yourself. The over-functioning daughter fades not by hiding but by unfusing, separating love from labor, presence from performance, care from control. What happens in real life when you do this? The calendar thins because you stop scheduling fear. Conversations shorten because you give answers instead of essays. Holidays soften because you stop managing the theater. Siblings may feel the draft. Some step forward. Others vanish. Those responses are data, not verdicts. Data shows who prefers you exhausted and who can meet you in the middle. You will misstep. You will explain when you meant to decide, or volunteer the hour you promised to yourself. You will hear the old sentence, "It's easier if I just do it," and believe it for a day. Then you'll remember the cost and try again, smaller and steadier. Growth is a rhythm, not a pose. In Jung's language, you are relocating psychic energy from a complex back to the self. At first, that self feels quiet and unspectacular. It keeps promises to your future self, like going to bed on time and refusing midnight guilt. It lives at human speed. Notice the new pleasures that arrive when you stop running the household barometer. A long exhale in a clean room you didn't create for anyone else. A slow coffee that belongs to your morning, not to a crisis. The grounded joy of being present with a partner or child without the phantom tug of a parent's mood. These are small holy things. When your body learns they are allowed, you stop confusing adrenaline for love. Expect invitations back into the old dance. A guilt-laced, "We miss you," a nostalgic, "Remember when you always," an urgent, "Only you know how." Old cues still fit old keys, but you are changing the lock. Respond with gratitude and accuracy. "I miss you too. Sundays work for me. I used to do that. I don't now." I don't. You'll figure it out. If someone escalates, that is their weather. Let the storm spend itself without becoming its lightning rod. Here is the deeper truth beneath the test. The over-functioning daughter is a family atlas who learned to carry more because it kept the sky from falling. But you are not the sky. You are a person. When you put the weight down, the world does not end. It reshapes. People discover new muscles or new limits. Either way, reality returns to them. Individuation is loyalty to life. Life asks each adult to carry their season's load. You carry yours. They carry theirs. The love between you grows up. As we close, choose one sign that felt loudest and practice the opposite for a week. If you over-explain, write one sentence and stop. If you volunteer, wait one day. If you feel guilty while resting, rest anyway and notice what survives. Keep a small promise to yourself that no one else witnesses. Let that promise be your proof. Not proof that you are good because your goodness never needed proof, but proof that you will not abandon yourself to earn belonging again. Soon someone will say, "You seem calmer." You will smile because the calm is not performance. It is alignment. And when a parent says, "I just don't know how I'd manage without you," the glow and the ache will both appear. You will feel the ache and choose it again. That is the moment your life moves from test to truth. And truth, lived quietly and consistently, is what finally sets a daughter free.